With the second day of NBA playoffs officially over with the Nuggets destroying the Timberwolves, I want to talk about some things that happened today that are really unfortunate, but also some of the cool games that are pretty interesting. But the main thing about this video that I want to cover is the injuries that happened today. It was just bad. Like, the superstars were getting hurt. Like, it was just not a fun watch at times seeing these guys go down with pretty serious looking injuries. Starting off the day, we had the Lakers-Grizzlies going head to head in Memphis in the game that the Lakers pulled out in a very dominant fourth quarter performance. Anthony Davis played incredible. Austin Reeves was closing the game for the Lakers when LeBron James is on the floor. AR-15 was the one closing the game out. He was playing incredible. Rui Hachimura had a career night in the playoffs. Like, it was an amazing game for the Lakers. But for the Grizzlies, Ja Morant landed and hurt his already injured hand in a pretty nasty looking collision. He tried to dunk it over Anthony Davis, but he was just way too far for that to even have a chance to go in, and he fell pretty hard. Tried to, brace himself with his hand, but his fingers bent and he landed hard on that hand. It was a nasty looking fall, and Ja was ruled out for the rest of the game. Well, I don't know if he was ruled out, but he just never came back in. And as soon as Ja was out, the Lakers just piled it on Memphis. They were dominating from that point on. And looking back on it, that Ja injury really did shift the momentum of this game, and the Lakers came out on top. Because at the point of Ja's injury, it was a pretty close game still, but towards the end of the game, the Lakers were piling it on, getting defensive stops, and just scoring at will at the end of the fourth quarter. Now, I don't know the timetable for Ja Morant. I hope he's back for Wednesday's game too, but that just did not look good. And the fact that the hand was already hurt and he re-injured it, that is not good at all. If Ja Morant is not playing good, or not even just playing good, playing at all, this series is probably over. Now, I gotta give Jaren Jackson his flowers though. That man was balling. He gave the Grizzlies somewhat of a chance, even with Ja out for a lot of that fourth quarter. He gave him a chance, putting up 30. He was balling, even with Anthony Davis playing incredible defense, playing like an MVP out there. But Jaren was still going toe-to-toe against Anthony Davis when AD was playing peak basketball defensively. Jaren was still giving him buckets. And even in this game as well, it wasn't as impactful because he was back after halftime. But Anthony Davis, even, I don't know if it was a stinger or he dislocated his shoulder or something, but AD literally was saying he injured his shoulder in I don't even know how he injured it, honestly. Kind of was a wacky looking injury. I don't know exactly what pinpoint area he injured it, but there was a play, he lost the ball, he was going for it, and out of nowhere he was holding his shoulder or arm, and he literally said, you can read his lips, that he could not move his arm. That at that moment I was like, oh shoot, the Lakers could be done for. And he went to the locker room, he was done. At that point I thought he was done for the game. I was thinking he might be done for the series, because that's you can't feel your arm. Hold on, we're talking about a serious injury here. And then he was back for the third quarter, started the third quarter, played fine, and dominated like usual. So the first game of the day, we had both Ja Morant and Anthony Davis go down with injuries. Ja Morant's obviously is more significant because of the fact that he literally missed the rest of the game, while AD came back and still dominated. But with Ja, he looked in pain too. He was coming off the court yelling at the top of his lungs in pain. He was sitting on the bench just looking so just down. His spirit was destroyed because he was I literally cannot go out there because of how bad this injury is. And that is just super worrisome to see him out there on the bench grabbing that hand in so much pain. Super worrisome for anyone that's supporting the Grizzlies, anyone on the team. This team has championship aspirations, and their superstar just got hurt. Absolute soul crushing for any Memphis Grizzlies fan. And we go on to the next game, Bucks versus Heat in Milwaukee. This game, Giannis Antetokounmpo gets hurt in the first quarter, grabbing his back after a very hard fall. He drives in on Kevin Love, who, this game, Kevin Love played phenomenal. That man was playing the PJ Tucker role at top tier level. He was drawing charges, and in this play, he drew a charge on Giannis. But Giannis, the Greek freak, that man's athleticism is out of this world. He flew, and he was up there high up, and he fell back first, straight onto the hardwood. I think he injured like his tailbone or like something like that. He was trying to come back in the game after going to the locker room after that play. Tries to come back a few minutes later. He just looked so much discomfort in his back. He was like having a hard problem even walking out there. Went back into the locker room. Later it was revealed he's ruled out for the rest of the game with a back contusion or something. And for the Bucks, they have a very deep team, so they actually had a chance in this game at one point with Chris Middleton going off, Drew Holiday going off, Bobby Portis going off. They actually did have a chance in winning this game versus the Miami Heat, but Miami Heat had Jimmy G buckets going off. Playoff Jimmy in full effect this game. But with no Giannis, yes, they might win this series because it's still the 8th-seeded Heat, very inconsistent team, and they have a very deep team and still have like 2 all-star worthy players with Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday, and of course Brook Lopez, who's a defensive player of the year candidate. But if they want to win a championship, they need Giannis, of course, we all know that. And if Giannis is out with this back injury, their season is basically done. Now, I don't know when the next Milwaukee game is, but for the Bucks' sake, they need this game to be like 4 days, 5 days. They need this game as far away as possible. They need this man Giannis to rest up. I don't think it's going to be as bad as an injury as the next one we're about to talk about, but Giannis, that just sucks for the Bucks to even have Giannis even have any type of injury, because those, you know, lower back problems that might linger on for the rest of the playoffs. It might not just be like alright, I wake up and I'm 100%, I don't feel it at all. Like this he might feel this for the rest of the playoffs if he does come back. And another injury that happened, which is probably the worst out of all of them with the actual injury wise, Tyler Hero broke his hand, or I think I read he broke his middle finger and index finger in a play. I have no idea how he broke it. Like, I rewatched that play 4 or 5 times and I still cannot even pinpoint where he even broke his fingers. I don't know if I just didn't watch the right camera angle or something. I was watching the one they showed on TNT and I just couldn't see it. He dove for the ball, maybe he landed on it and his body was just covering it, but I could not see where he broke his fingers. But the fact that he was on the court for about like 40 seconds, 30 seconds after he broke his fingers, and he shot a 3, that is crazy that they even allowed him to be on that court for that long. He was on there for like 2 offensive possessions and a defensive possession. Tyler Hero, he was trying to run off the court after the injury. He was going to the locker room, but they told him come back. Yeah, you just can't walk off. You need a substitution, and it's not a dead ball yet. And Tyler Hero was trying to walk off because of how bad the injury is, but they didn't foul. They didn't call a timeout. That man had to play with broken fingers during a high-level playoff game. For Tyler Hero, breaking 2 fingers on his dominant hand, his shooting hand, that is devastating. Now, I don't see him coming back for this series. I don't see him coming back for the entire playoffs if you see the Miami Heat going far. Like, broken fingers, broken bones in general, that isn't nothing to, you know, push to the side. It'll heal in a couple days. That's probably season ending. Unfortunate for Tyler Hero. And I hope he can come back as soon as possible. I don't know if he can maybe just do what Kobe did and tape the fingers together, but it's broken fingers we're talking about. It's not a fracture or something. It's not a dislocation like we saw earlier today. Like, this is broken fingers, and prayers up for Tyler Hero. Hope for a speedy recovery, because this is pretty devastating, especially for a Miami Heat team that if Jimmy Buckets isn't going off, they don't really have a very consistent offensive scorer except for Tyler Hero, and now he's unfortunately out for them. Now, they did go on to win this game, which is very good for them, obviously, but if Giannis comes back, maybe not game 2, but 3 or 4, and so on, I can't really see him winning this series, especially with Tyler Hero out. That's a huge gut punch for the Miami Heat. Was a huge piece of this team, and unfortunately for him and the team and the fans, he is probably going to miss a big amount of time. Now, the next game was the Suns-Clippers facing off in an amazing duel between Kawhi, Westbrook versus Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. Was a fun watch, an amazing game, and fortunately no injuries. I mean, Mason Plumlee, I think dislocated his finger or something, but he was playing still, played through it. Unfortunately, it was his pinky, not a very, prominent finger, but Mason Plumlee was still playing out there. Good for him. And this was just a show of a game. Like, Kevin Durant was going off, Devin Booker was going off, Kawhi was going off. Playoff Kawhi was in full effect this game. I love to see Kevin Durant and Kawhi guarding each other at times. That's amazing to watch. Star on star in the biggest moments. And Russell Westbrook had the best 3 of 19 game of all time. I believe it was 3 of 19. I don't know if it was 3 of 19, 3 of 18 or something. It was a pretty bad shooting night for Russell Westbrook. But you want to put that on him? He did everything else on the basketball court you can ask for at a top tier level, and if it wasn't for Westbrook, they lose this game, no doubt about it. He was probably the best rebounder on the floor at all times, dishing out a bunch of assists. Of course, we know Westbrook is one of the best playmakers in the league. He was defending at probably the highest level over anybody in this game. Westbrook was locking up Kevin Durant at times. The last play of the game, blocked Devin Booker on the game-saving block and then threw it off of Booker after it was about to go out of bounds on him. He threw it off Booker, gave it back to the Clippers, and clinched the game for the Clippers and won Game 1 because of his immense amount of heart he put out there, an immense amount of just energy. Westbrook was the definition of a difference maker. He's definitely not making Steve Ballmer regret his decision to go sign Westbrook. This man Westbrook has been amazing, and he capped it off with an amazing performance today. You want to look at the box score, see 3 of 19, and that didn't really shoot the ball very good, wasn't scoring at a high level. Well, forget all that. Westbrook played great and was probably he was the MVP of the game. Kawhi, of course, is like the second runner-up. Kawhi was amazing for the Clippers, going off, putting up, I forgot the exact amount of points he put up, but it was like 30 something, close to 40, you know, going crazy versus the Suns led by Kevin Durant, who was also going off, but at times Westbrook was locking up. And the Clippers won in Game 1 in Phoenix, taking home court advantage. A huge win for the Clippers if they want a chance to come out of this series. I predicted this series to go in 5 in the Suns' way. The Clippers might mess around and win the series. Now, this is just one game. Westbrook probably didn't have his best game this season. Kawhi went crazy. The Suns did play well, but I think they definitely have another year to them. Kevin Durant played well. Devin Booker played a great defensive game. Devin Booker played pretty good offensively as well. But I don't know. I don't know if the Clippers are going to play like this every single game. This was an insanely good start to the series, though. And if they do play like this, Clippers, they probably have this series in the bag, honestly. Now, the report did come out that Paul George is more than likely not going to come back for this series at all. Maybe if it gets forced to 7, he might come back for Game 7, but even that, you're throwing Paul George into the lion's den with that. That is crazy if you do that. But a crazy fun game. The Clippers come out on top, and luckily, we only came out of this game with a dislocated finger. Let's go. Next game up, not going to talk about it much because I didn't even watch it that much because of how much of a blowout it was. The Nuggets versus the Timberwolves in Denver. Nuggets took care of business. They destroyed the Timberwolves at home. They're the first seed, Timberwolves are the 8th seed. They took care of business. They knew the assignment. They knew what they had to do this game. The big man for the Timberwolves did absolutely disappointed me. Rudy Gobert did not play well. Cat did not play well. Jokic was balling. Michael Porter Jr. had a pretty good game. KCP had a great game. Bruce Brown, Michael Porter Jr. Like, this was the type of game where you really do look at the Nuggets team and say, this team is complete. They are not relying on just one dude to carry the entire offensive load. This team has a bunch of weapons around Jokic, and he definitely showed that. With Jokic only putting up 13 points, he did not have to score at all this game. But the fact that they have weapons everywhere around him, making everyone able to have their own special way of scoring without having to have Jokic just post up. You would sit in the corner, you sit in the other corner, and you cut. That's not their offense. They have a more intricate offense where everyone is able to score in their own way and be able to get a bucket. It's just such a well-oiled machine. It's just so fun to watch. I didn't watch much of this game because I knew the Nuggets had this in the bag once they were up 20 or so. And they did not let their foot off the gas. They were just destroying the Timberwolves so much to the point where Kyle Anderson was trying to scrap with someone else. It was just a crazy good game for the Nuggets, really showing why they are the first seed and why they should be feared in the West. And luckily, no injuries in the Nuggets-Timberwolves game. We made it out with 0 injuries in the final game. So anyways, if you like this video, hit the like button down below, subscribe button, notification bell so you can be notified as soon as I upload. If you agree, disagree, or you're on the fence with what I'm saying, put it down in the comments below. Have a conversation about it, be respectful, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace out.